Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. We're going to take our February look at Flesh and Blood sales data off of TCG Player. So first up, welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible of War Unlimited boxes. I've set the horizontal axis here to 2 months of data, January and February. We see the yellow line of Crucible of War has come down $4 or $5 on the price, but otherwise stable, and the sales for the blue line of Welcome to Wraith and the red line of Arcane Rising keep ticking upwards steadily. A couple of big jumps here in Arcane Rising we'll get to in a second. And the yellow line of Crucible of War a little bit more shallow, tapering off. If we go to the month over month table, what we have here is January boxes sold, February boxes sold, the percent change month over month, January average box price, February average box sales price, and the month over month change in that, and then just multiply them out to get the revenue. So what we see is a 129% increase in Arcane Rising boxes sold. It makes me wonder if somebody has come in and tried to establish a very big position. You can see a big jump here, another decent jump here, and a 2-day jump here, where a lot of people, or maybe not a lot of people, but a lot of boxes were bought up in a short amount of time. As for month over month change of Welcome to Wraith and Crucible of War, not much going on there, and all the prices very stable, single digit percent changes. Moving on, Monarch First Edition, Tales of Aria First Edition, and Everfest First Edition. If we plot those up here, we saw that big change in number of boxes sold, a lot of demand. You see the big step up here in cumulative boxes sold, and the price went up with it for the yellow line of Everfest First Edition back in January, and it moderated back down in price in February. And this was a result of, in January, James White giving that interview where he said that the Everfest Unlimited printing had been literally shredded and does not exist anymore. So a lot of people came into the market back in January, grabbed up a bunch of boxes of those, understanding that they were now essentially a lot more rare than we thought they were to start with, and they've now bought those boxes and moved on. Going to the month over month table for these three products, again, we see that minus 69%, nice, in change in sales month over month, as the big demand was pulled forward into January, and then it trailed off in February. 43% increase in Tales of Aria First Edition boxes, February over January, and Monarch First Edition falling by half. Again, prices decently stable, except for Tales dropped by 12%. History Pack will swing by and take a look at that real quick. The prices have always been very stable with this, arguably a product that never really needed to exist, since there were plenty of boxes of Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible of War in English when this came out. It was a good product for the foreign languages as they were bringing those into the game, but that's why essentially this English version never really posts great sales or much movement. A 19% increase in boxes month over month, but that's off of a base of 27, so really not much change. And the price, again, single digit percent changes month over month. Now, as we get into the post Fab 2.0 sets, we'll put Uprising, Dynasty, and Outsiders up here. You see a little more price movement, even though this vertical axis of the price is a bit more coarse. And you see the just steady sales of the boxes. You know, this is what you expect to see as the TCG expansion lifecycle does its thing. As a expansion becomes less popular, people move on, players don't need it as much, investors have built their positions, and it slowly sells off over a long period of time. You don't expect a lot of big action on these kind of middle age boxes. The month over month table for these products, we're going to see 178% increase in Dynasty. I would be interested if there's something really there, if anyone has a theory on why that huge uptick in sales of Dynasty happened in February over January, or if it's just kind of a, 2 to 3 Sigma event and not all that crazy. Outsiders up 30% and Uprising down 24%. Again, box prices all very stable, single digit percent changes. And coming lastly to the final three sets, Dusk Till Dawn, Bright Lights, and Heavy Hitters. Now, we see this huge tick up on the yellow line of heavy hitters for cumulative box sales, all in this very short time period. This is because TCG Player ran an event where they were selling a box of heavy hitters, a brick of the Blitz decks from the set, and maybe a promo card too. I forget if there's a promo involved. When I pulled those data in, I stripped out the value of that brick so that I would just get the value of the boxes and not mess up these data. But you can see how much of a difference that makes to the sales of this product. If we go to the month over month table, again, that would have pulled a lot of that demand to the left in January. And then February, when we got the actual release of the expansion on February 2nd, sales started to trail off again as people got their fill of it. So minus 60% nearly in box sales month to month for that. Bright Lights dropping again, as you expect, as people move on more and more. And Dusk Till Dawn up a little bit. But again, when you have small bases to start with, a change of 43 to 59 boxes is not that spectacular. And once again, single digit percent price changes. The price is very, very stable. Now, we're going to take a look at one last thing. We're going to plot up these last three boxes. And what I've done is change the horizontal axis to be days since release. So this puts all three of these expansions along this vertical line of their release date so that we can see relative to each other, how are they doing in their own individual timelines. And what we see is that yellow line of heavy hitters, it claws back a lot of performance that was lost to Bright Lights that just didn't perform how we would have hoped, but not quite re-achieving the success that Dusk Till Dawn did in its first 30 days post-release. So, like I said, getting back some of that performance, but not all of it. Hopefully by the next expansion, we see those kind of numbers that Dusk Till Dawn posted in its first month again. If you want to see these data every month, I've been collecting them for about nearly 2 years now. Subscribe to the channel. You'll see it every month, along with other data videos I do, TCG investing analysis, Friday sealed deals, patron program perks, all kinds of other things. Let me know what you think, guys, other sources of data, questions you have, ideas, theories, whatever. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.